In this video, we're going to be finding out what my favourite lens is. Is it this one? You'll have to watch and find out. Roll titles. So is it this one? The 14-140 Lumix? Maybe. What about this? Got to be the 50mm equivalent, the 25mm Lumix f1.7. Surely it's this. Maybe. What else is in the pocket? Well, it could be my Sigma 60mm f2.8. Dirt cheap. Wonderful. Did a review of it. Maybe not. Maybe it could be. Oh, it's got to be, surely. The Olympus 17mm f1.8. Got to be this one. I use it all the time. Surely this is my favourite lens. But of course there's more. There's the fabulous 7-14 f4 Lumix lens. No? Oh, how about this one then? This is the 40-150mm Olympus. Cheap as chips. Really, really good lens. Fantastic for a zoom lens if you sort it out in photography. No? What else do we have? It's got to be the big one. The 100-300 Lumix. I've loved this lens for ages. Got to be this one, surely, hasn't it? What about this one? The 12-60 Lumix. Always been a good one with me. Well, that brings us on to the next lot of contenders. Got to be the 45mm f1.8 Olympus. Again, a lens I've reviewed in the past. There's a link up there. Fabulous little lens. Or is it my 14mm f2.5? Always a firm favourite, surely. How about the Olympus 12-40 f2.8? Great lens. Or its Lumix counterpart, the 12-35 f2.8. Again, fabulous lens. How about a prime, a fast prime, super sharp fast prime, probably the sharpest prime on the market. The 75mm f1.8 Olympus. Nope, none of those three. So what is it? Well, hi, Brian James, that Micro Four Thirds guy with you once again, and that was a bit of a motley crew of lenses, some of which you'll recognise from my reviews in the past, some of which you, when you saw on the iPad, I've owned in the past. But the problem is, how do I define what my favourite lens is? What makes a favourite lens over necessarily the best or the worst lens? Because the worst lens isn't necessarily one that you wouldn't have a favourite, and the best lens isn't necessarily one that you'd always go for as your own personal favourite. Well, let's look at some of the criteria. We've obviously got the size and weight of the lens. That makes a big difference when you're carrying it around or when you're in use. You've got to find out what you're going to be using it for, and what you normally use the lens for in day-to-day use. Price is obviously a big factor of it, and versatility, that's got to come into it as well. So let's go through some of those lenses and let's see what I think of them and why, and maybe they're not my favourites. Keep watching though, because I'll soon reveal what my favourite lens is of all time on the Micro Four Thirds system very soon. Well, let's start with the three or four that were on the iPad. The fabulous 12-40 Olympus 2.8, the 12-35 Lumix, also the 35-100 that I didn't show you on there, again the 2.8, and also that unbelievably good 75mm f1.8 Olympus. Surely they must be amongst my favourites. Well, they're not. And for a couple of simple reasons. I've changed my style of photography. If you're shooting as a professional photographer, you want the very best gear. You want it so that it's incredibly robust. You want it so that it will deliver every time. You've got a job to do to deliver to your clients a product, and it's got to be consistent, it's got to be good, and it's got to be something which is going to fit their criteria. Without messing about, you can't have delays and you can't have failures on it, because if you do, you're not going to deliver. Now, those professional series lenses are absolutely superb for that, and they really are. They can't be beaten, in my opinion. And I've owned some of those in the past, some of those lenses in the past, and I loved using them. But I'm not a pro anymore. I'm shooting for myself, and what I shoot has changed. I'm not doing portraits anymore. I'm not doing commercial shoots anymore. So what I'm shooting is different. I'm going out doing all sorts of everyday shoots for myself, and also to shoot on video for this. So let's see what else it is. If it's not them, what about the other ones? Well, there was one I didn't show you, which is the little 12-32 lens, which I'm shooting on this on my G100 at the moment, the 3.5 to 5.6 pancake lens. Now, this is a superb little lens, really versatile. You can get a nice little zoom range on it, and it is a lens I'm probably using most of all for shooting videos at the moment. The problem with it is, it would be right amongst the top ones, except for two things. One, it doesn't have quite the versatility that I want, only going out to 32mm. And the other one is the fact that it doesn't have a manual focus ring. And the manual focus ring really is quite a useful tool at times. So it's not my favourite from that point of view, but incredibly sharp and incredibly good. Well worth considering. So, is it a prime lens? Have I gone for a prime lens? Well, there's some superb prime lenses, and amongst those was one of my favourites, and you'll find there's a link above to the video when I did the review of this, which is the 45mm f1.8 Olympus. It is tiny, it is light, it is wonderful, it is super sharp to use, and it is a fantastic lens. But the problem is, with a full frame equivalent of 90mm, it's great for doing portraits and things in that mid-range, but there are limitations to the way you can use it. It's not much good if you want to do a lot of landscape photography. It's great for certain shots, but not very good range of photography on that. So that sort of discounts that out. Got to be the Lumix 25mm, surely a nifty 50 equivalent, f1.7, cheapest chips, £149 retail last time I looked. Got to be that surely. Well, no. And again, I've done a review on that lens, and I love the lens. But again, like all the rest of the primes, it's restrictive. And this is my problem with the primes, which is why I haven't chosen something like the 75mm, which has got to be the best lens I've ever used. It is the sharpest, it is wonderful, it has so little distortion, but I don't have one now. I sold it. I didn't use it very often. And if it's not a prime, then it's not going to be my Sigma 2.8 60mm, because although that's a great little lens and it was only £119 retail, it's not that one. And the reason, as I say, they're not my favourite, because they're not being used enough. I don't get enough range out of them. Even something like the 17mm f1.8 Olympus, which came joint top on my favourite budget lenses. That is a superb lens. And it's great if you're walking around the streets taking street shots and taking things like that. But again, you run out of range if you want to zoom in on anything. You've got to start using your legs, and sometimes if you're trying to get something high up in a building, you can't start climbing up the walls of the building to get it. So that's not my favourite, even though I use it a huge amount of the time. So that brings us on to zooms. Well, what would it be? Well, one of the nicest zooms I ever owned was the 12-60 Lumix, the Leica Lumix, which comes as a kit lens on some of the real high-end cameras. I think it's an f2.8 if I remember right. Wonderful lens, super clean, super sharp, and a really fast lens for this, and a constant aperture too. Really, really nice lens. The problem is, it comes into the same carrying some of the other pro lenses that I mentioned earlier on. Start climbing up the side of a rock, a mountain or something like that, or hills, and the camera gets banged around. Do you really want to be risking that much money's worth of lens on a day out? Seriously worth thinking about. And although I got fantastic results, it wasn't one which really sat in my pocket all the time. It wasn't one of those sort of lenses I just instantly had to have on. I was always too worried about using it, doing the sort of photography I'm doing now. So, although it was a great lens, and if you have one, you'll probably be thrilled with it, but it wasn't my favourite lens. How about the 14-140? I reviewed that very, very recently. Again, there's a link up there. The 14-140 is a great lens, and that is the lens I'm carrying around with me most of all at the moment, more than any other lens. If you recall, when I went on my trip earlier on the year to Cyprus, it was the 14-140 was the only lens I took with me, apart from a prime, so that I could get some fast lens shots indoors. But it was the 14-140 that I took. It has an incredible range from 28 to 280mm equivalents on full frame. That will get you taking photographs of almost everything. Very, very wide to quite decent telephoto. So surely it's that one. No, it's not that one. Even though it gets used more than any other lens in my collection at the moment, it's not my favourite. And why not? It takes great photos, but there's something which just doesn't pop with them. There's something which doesn't make me look at those photos and think, I really want to look at that. There's something missing in the image, and I just can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's just a slight softness, maybe it's a slight cast in some direction. I don't understand what it is. But whenever I look at it, I always feel that there's something missing. And I don't enjoy it because of that. But it does get me the shot. So, before I tell you what my favourite lens is, keep on watching, because I will reveal it straight after this. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. It really is useful for me if you can do that, because it does get the videos watched by more people and YouTube promotes them more. And if you can give me a big thumbs up, whether you like the video or not, that really does help YouTube's algorithms to get more people watching it. And more people watch it, more enjoyable it is, because I can get the message out there a little bit better. Oh, if you do enjoy it, there's also a PayPal link below if you want to buy me a coffee. Thanks to those who have. Anyway, back to the review. What is it? The big reveal. What is my favourite all-time Micro Four Thirds lens, and why? Well, it's the one, and I did the 5 budget lenses which tied for first place. You'll not be surprised, with the 17mm f1.8 Olympus, and it's this one. This is my, get it round the right way, this is my Lumix f3.5 to 5.6 12 to 60mm zoom lens. Now, I did mention about the Lumix Leica's 12 to 60, so why this one over its bigger, better brother? Because I think we could probably all agree it's better. Well, for the very reasons I said that wasn't my favourite, was the extra weight, the size, the price, and also the worry about fragility on it. This thing is fabulous. It's still not a cheap lens. It's still going to cost you some money to get it. You know, you have to invest in it, but in comparison it is considerably cheaper. It's a great little lens. 12 to 60mm gives an equivalent of 24 to 120mm in full frame, which is a really nice usable range. The lens is light. It's not super small, but it's not big either. It does extend out, fair enough, but in normal use you carry it around in its retracted position. It's easy to use. It's got a great image stabilizer built in, and combined with the Lumix cameras with the dual image stabilization, it really gets the photograph done. But there's something about the image on this. I love the images which come out of it. Where I said the 14 to 140 didn't pop and didn't make me feel good, this one really does. I don't find any problem with the photographs I take on this one. So this, the 12 to 60 f3.5 to 5.6, is my favourite Micro Four Thirds lens ever. So what's your favourite lens and why? Don't forget to drop a comment below. I'm really interested to find out why you have a favourite lens and what that favourite lens is. As I say, this isn't necessarily the best lens on the market, it's not the most expensive, nor the cheapest, and it's not got the greatest range, but it's the lens which fits my criteria as being the one that I enjoy using most. Don't forget, drop us a comment below if you can, and don't forget to give a big thumbs up to this. Until the next time, whatever lens you take out, keep on taking your camera out, keep on taking your photographs, and keep on having fun with your photography. Bye bye. Roll them.